Good morning, influencers. Happy Saturday. Hello, hello, hello to each and every one of you. I am under the impression it's going to be a beautiful day. So it is my hope that you all will get out, enjoy today. So today's topic is Savage Shift. The shift begins with you. So every live that I come on, as I said, this is an opportunity to educate as well as to relate to today's struggles, obstacles, and encounters to impart some type of wisdom in dealing with these things. So a lot of the content that I'm going to be discussing today came from a suggestion from one of our viewers who asked me to talk about blame and shifting the blame and how we have to take accountability for our actions. So I do say your response is your responsibility. My pastor preached a sermon a few months ago that your response is your responsibility. So today, the savage shift, your shift begins with you. So savage, the word savage, for every term there is a definition to define it by its noun, in a noun content, verb, and an adjective. So the word savage, the adjective meaning is fierce, violent, or uncontrolled. The noun is a brutal or vicious person, and the verb is to attack fiercely. In most cases, they refer to the verb savage as a dog or a wild animal. So the definition of shift as the verb is, it means to move or cause to move from one place to the other. And the noun is a slight change in position, direction, which simply means a movement. In order to shift, there is you have to do something with your movement. So I want to talk about the savage shift. And in the shift, you have to realize that there is a negative connotation that goes along with the term savage. But the thing I like about this thing called life is we can define we can make our own definition, or we can in turn turn a negative from a negative and flip it to a positive. So even looking at the term savage, when you look at it as an adjective, it means furious, violent, or uncontrolled. And if you look at it as a noun, you look at it in the definition as a brutal or vicious person. While looking at it in the verb content, it means to attack furiously. So a lot of times, like I said, the definition refers to savage as a dog or a wild animal. But this morning, I want to give you a different perspective on the term savage. So while there is a negative connotation that goes along with the word savage, this morning, I want to shift. There's the word shift. I want to shift your perspective from the savage being this negative thing to utilizing the very thing that many people view as negative as a positive. So what I mean by that is, even with the word savage, many would refer to as in the verb content as a dog or a wild animal. I'm going to be honest, like where the place that I am in my life right now, I don't mind someone referring to me in certain content as, oh, she's savage, because my purpose is to utterly destroy anything that stands in the way of someone being able to tap into who God called them to be. Anything that stands in the way of the individual identifying that in this life, you're going to go through various situations and circumstances that's going to make you feel like you can't get your head above water. So yes, as a coming from a different perspective of savage, I believe that I don't mind someone saying, oh, she's savage. Because one thing I know is that I am not going to stop at the mediocre level of pleasing anyone if it does not align with God's will and purpose and plan for my life. I strongly believe that there is a shift in the earth realm that is requiring us to identify who we are so that we can then take a step to the next level. Good morning to all of those that are tuning in. I can see we have some viewers, but I don't know who those viewers are. So you can comment and say good morning, but good morning to you all. So yeah, I don't mind an individual saying, oh, well, she's savage. Because I'll be that. Because I don't feel... I'm not coming at you brutal and vicious to destroy you, but I'm coming at you forcefully, right? So it says in the verb content, good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Deacon Janae. In the verb content, it says to attack fiercely. So I'm not coming at you in a negative way to tear you down, to discredit your character, to bring you out, or to make you feel less than who you were called to be. But I am coming at you forcefully in a way that's going to make you to identify you were called to be an influencer, and it's time to tap into your passion to walk into the purpose that God has called you to. So moving on to shift. When you shift by its definition as a verb is to move or to cause to move from one place to another. And the noun content is a slight change in position or direction. It's a movement. But the thing I like about the definition as a noun, the content, it says a slight change. So you don't have to jump leaps and bounds to take and shift. It says a slight change. So my encouragement this morning is to identify even the small changes that you're making, even the small adjustments, because that is a form of a shift according to its definition. So this morning, I do want to talk about how biblically it talks about savage as well as talks about shift. So in Matthew 7:15, it says, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly are savage wolves. Inwardly are savage wolves. What that means is someone could come to you to relay a word, but inwardly their intentions be to harm, to destroy, to discredit, to tear down, to bring you backwards while you are yet pressing and trying to pursue the greatness that God called you to. So you have to, yes, beware of that content or that distraction. And again, identifying that savage could also be something negatively. But me, I am in a habit of turning even a negative situation around to make it positive. So Acts 20:29, it says, I know that after my departure, savage wolves will come in among you and not sparing the flock. So here, what's happening here is Paul is going away, and Paul is preparing the people that are behind to let them know that as I go away, in my departure, in my absence, you're going to encounter some individuals that's going to give you a tough time. But they're not going to spare you just because they can identify the greatness that's down on the inside of you. They're not going to spare you because they want to be able to say, listen, you thought she was who she claimed to be, but she's not who she claimed to be, because I was able to take and knock her off her post. So it's important to maintain posture and positioning even as you shift, identifying that I am in this place for a reason. But the story that I want to get to that goes along with savage shift, the shift begins with you is the story of Lot and his wife in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? In Genesis, the 19th chapter, if many of us have heard, Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. But do you know why Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt? Let me explain. So two angels appears to Lot. And good morning, Gwen. Two angels appear to Lot, and they say to Lot, that given instructions by God, they tell Lot that God is about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. They instruct him to go to his house to get his wife and his two daughters. So Lot, he does that. He goes to the house, he gets his wife, his two daughters, and he lets them know, we have to go. Something's about to happen, and I have been given the warning that it's time for us to pack up and go. So before they begin to travel on their journey, Lot told his daughter and his daughters and his wife that whatever you do, when we start to go, when we start to shift, when we start to move, do not look back. So, needless to say, if somebody was coming to you and saying, John, your life depends on you shifting and moving, you have to go. Don't look back. Whatever you do, just keep moving. Just keep moving. Because if you look back, you're going to lose your life. Most of us would be like, you know what? I'm not even going to think twice. I know I still got work to do. I'm not questioning it. Listen, I'm just going to take these instructions and I got to go. I got to move. I got to shift. I don't care who says what, contrary to these instructions, but these instructions I'm going to take heed to because I'm not trying to lose my life. So on the journey, they begin to go, and I can imagine that they're running because they could hear the city being destroyed behind them. But of course, as you know, when we get in this race called life, when we start living life, and as we start pursuing, good morning, Tasia, as we start pursuing the purpose that God has for us, we're going to have individuals that the song says, many started out with me, but now they're going astray. We're going to have many that says, listen, Shay, I believe in the Wow Inspired movement, and I am here with you, and we are moving, we are shaking, we are shifting, we are going. But because they were not equipped with the wisdom and strategy, because remember, wow is wisdom optimizes winning. Because they lack wisdom and strategy, they begin to grow weary. They begin to say, this work is too treacherous. I cannot do it. You know what? You just leave me here. But I'm super excited for you. I am cheering from the stands. Girl, go ahead. And everybody else that's with the Wow Inspired movement, you go right ahead. You do what God has called you to do, because I just can't take it. I can't take the pressures. These savages, they are coming. But what you got to realize is that there's a savage down on the inside of you. And the savage that is down on the inside of you defines how you will utilize it. So where I'm at in my life, the savage that's in me will say that, listen, I'm going to take the instructions from the angel. I'm going to go and get my friends, my family members, and I'm going to let them know God is about to destroy the city and we must go. Whatever you do, when we start to move, when we start to shift, don't look back. You don't have time to look back. You have to keep going because, listen, your life depends on it. So they get to going, they're moving. Lot and his two daughters, they kept going. But Lot's wife decided that, okay, I know the angels came to my husband and told my husband and gave my husband specific instructions to shift and move. But because I haven't yet had the same encounter, because my gift does not operate like Tasia's gift, and my gift does not look like Janae's gift, and my gift does not look like Lorraine's gift, I got to turn back. I got to see this thing for myself. But little did Lot's wife know that when she turned around, she became disobedient to the instructions. So as she turned around, guess what happened? She turned into a pillar of salt. Well, Lot did not stop going, and he did not stop, he didn't take his focus off of where he was going, because he realized the instructions came with the action and that he had to shift. Lot was able to identify that the shift starts with me. So I can't give instructions to my daughters and my wife and not follow the instructions. So Lot had to realize that the shift began with him. I can can only imagine when Lot got to a place of safety and he had his daughters beside him, he realized that he did not have his wife, right? But Lot could not put the blame. Good morning, Tasha. Blessings unto you. Lot could not put the blame on anyone else. Lot couldn't say, oh, you know what? It's your fault that your mom looked back to his daughters. Lot couldn't say, oh, well, she got distracted and that's why she looked back. Lot had to take ownership to say, I don't know what happened. The only thing I know is that I was given instructions, and I realized that when I was given the instructions that this shift to begin with me. So even though I may be feeling some type of way in my physical body because I'm going to miss my loved one, because I'm going to miss the persons that I believe that was connected to me and was designed to move with me from this level of shift to the next level of shift, because I'm going to miss them, because I had a mapping that this was how the next level would be with these people. Because I had the mappings all set out, I feel like I need to question. No, his mind was not there. Even though in his physical sense, I can imagine emotionally he was feeling some type of way. Good morning, sis. He was feeling some type of way. But what I do know is that Lot took the instructions that he was given and he moved. He shifted and he moved. Because he was given divine instructions, he shifted and moved. Just like us today. We can't depend on anyone else when it comes down to our instructions, our obedience. We can't say, oh, I didn't do what I was called to do or what I was instructed to do because Tasia said, oh, no, not today. I can't blame my shortcomings or my downfall on my sister, Jerry, because, oh, well, Jerry decides, oh, well, Shay, you don't have to do your live today because we got something else to do. I need you to help me with this. My obedience is dependent on the instructions that I'm given, not contingent upon what somebody else says. Because as you see, Lot's wife did not believe the instructions that the angel gave Lot. She said, I want to see this thing for myself. Excuse me. She said, I want to see this thing for myself. She turned back. When she turned back, she didn't have a chance to say, cry, mercy, God, help me, please. Because when she turned back, immediately she turned into a pillar of salt. So today I am encouraging you that the shift begins with you. Identify the instructions. Get the wisdom. Understand strategy. And shift and move, because the shift begins with you. Understand that there are, levels to definitions. Understand that you define your character. You define how others perceive you. Your past no longer speaks to your character. You know why? Because and in this walk, as you transition, as you shift, the scripture says, let this mind be in Christ, be in him who is also in Christ Jesus. As you begin to shift, he said, old things are passed away. Behold, all things become anew. So you don't have to spend time trying to convince the people that you used to club with, the people you used to drink with, the people you used to gossip with, that a shift has taken place in your life, because you don't owe the explanation to them, especially when God has assigned a work for you. Your assignment may not look like my assignment. My assignment may not look like your assignment. Good morning, Jasmine. But it does not mean that because the assignment is different, my assignment or your assignment is greater than either one of us. There is a great work for all of us to do. And again, because the Wow Inspired movement is all about shaking and shifting and helping people to move from glory to glory, from level to level. It's all about inspiring the influencer in you, identifying you are called to do more than what you currently settling for. That mindset battle, the battle of your mindset, cannot win. The strongholds that anyone speaks into your life will not keep you from the destiny God has for you. I tell people all the time, God has spoke to me a few months ago, and he said, I had to shift. Just because I change your direction does not mean I change your destiny. Let me explain this to you. When you leave your house, to go to work or to go to the store, you typically take a certain direction. So I know I leave my house at a certain time every morning to make it to work when I have to work in Easton. And when I leave my house at that certain time, the expected time for me to arrive at my job is before I'm due to be there at work. But for whatever reason, because we feel like we have this thing mapped out, and that's just like even with me. I feel like, oh, you know, I got this down pat. I go this way every morning. I go this way every day. And I know if I leave my house at this time, listen, I done got so good with it where I can tell you the times that the signal lights are going to go from green light to red light because I got it so mapped down. But for whatever reason, the moment that I decide to leave my house with the regular intended schedule in mind, as I'm going to work, what I start to see on my way to work is that the direction that I would normally take is all blocked off. And instantly, because of our emotions and our human side of us, we get frustrated. It's like, Lord, you know, I'm used to going this way every day. I know if I leave my house at 7:02, I'm going to be to work by 7:30. So this morning I leave at 7:02 and now I done ran into a roadblock. So immediately, because of my emotions, I begin to get frustrated. But God had to speak to me and he had to let me know that in the moment of frustration, you got to be so strong that when you become frustrated, you don't revert back to what's familiar. What is familiar? What's familiar to me is me going to the club, me drinking, me not smoking, because I was really never a smoker, but I did smoke in the past. But me drinking, me clubbing, me cursing, me gossiping, cursing. Yes, I was a horrible cursor. Like I would cuss. What? Listen. I would speak a language you would thought I was speaking in tongues. However, what I had to realize is that he said in a moment of frustration, I need you to be so strong that in a moment of frustration, you don't revert back to what's familiar. So in order for me to get to that place, I had to shift. I had to move. I had to begin to start to understand strategy, because frustration will make you forget that, listen, I know I had this thing all planned out. It was all mapped out for me. But because of the frustration, now I done got I done forgot about the plan, because now the frustration has triggered something in me to cause me to just divert from the original plan. But basically, every way you usually would take is literally blocked. You cannot go in that direction. So when I get to work, when I go in my GPS, because the detour in which the mapping is taking me on is literally taking me 15 minutes longer outside of my normal scheduled time. So now I go in my phone and I'm, you know, as we always do, there's got to be a shorter way. So I go in my phone and start the GPS alternate routes. However, I'm from Cambridge. I'm like, listen, there's only so many ways you can go. However, the ways that are familiar to me, they're all blocked off. So I have no other choice but take the way in which it's deterring my route. I have to take this alternate route. It's no other way. At this point in time, it's either I say, you know what, I'm going to just stay right here until they open up this, you know, till they finish this construction or whatever, because I'm not going that way. But we know how our patience is set up. We'll just say, well, forget it, I'm going to go this way. So we begin to go in the way that, you know, the detour is taking us. And on that road, we realize that this is 25 minutes out of the way. It should not take me 45 minutes to get to Easton from Cambridge. This is ridiculous. But because there is no other way to go, and at this point you can't call out, because even to turn back around, there's no option to turn back around. You can't go back home. So you are forced to take the way in which, yes, Tasha, you are forced to take the way in which the detour is set for you. You're forced to take it. You have no other choice. You can't turn back around and say, you know what? I'm just going to go home. I was tired anyway. I didn't feel like getting up to go to work anyway. So I'm going to just go back home. But unfortunately, because of how the detour is set up, you can't go back home. So what do? You have to encounter. You have to endure that process going to work the detour way. So getting frustrated and getting your nerves and your mind all upset does not shorten the road. It does not give you the alternate in what you were looking for. So you might as well go ahead and put it on coast and enjoy the ride. But the moral of the story is, although he shifts your direction, your destiny never changes. And this thing spoke volumes to me, because although I'm uncomfortable in the shift, my destiny never changes. Although I did not want to take this detour, my destiny never changes. So my encouragement to you tonight is, when you're given instructions, my encouragement to you this morning is that when you are given instructions, although you may not want to take the detour route, your destiny, your destination never changes. So listen, it took me longer to get to work. But what I realized is that when I got to work, my workplace never lifted up and moved anywhere. So again, the shift begins with you. When you get to a place in your life that you are able to identify, I can't put the blame on my mother. I can't put the blame on my sisters. I can't put the blame on my friends. I can't say that I'm stuck where I am any longer because of somebody else. I must own the responsibility. I must take responsibility for my response. I must participate in my process. I can't expect my cousin Mary to take and say, you know what, I'm just going to stay in here. You get in the car and you drive the detour route. But Mary don't have the license yet. I can't give this thing to somebody else. Not saying Mary doesn't have her license, but I'm just saying, you don't know what the next person has to be able to say, oh, I'm going to shift it and give it to them because I just don't want to do it, or I just don't want to take it. Your shift begins with you. Get that savage mentality within you in a positive way to say, no longer will I no longer will I play it safe. Because playing it safe is almost playing it scared. It's not almost, it is playing it scared. No longer will I play it safe. No longer will I be intimidated by the thoughts of the people that are surrounding me. No longer will I fear that what I say is not going to sound appeasing to somebody else. But I will take the instructions that I'm given and I will go forth. I will accept that this shift starts with me. Nobody else can shift for me. When you drive in a car, if you're the driver, you can't have somebody else shifting the gears for you. You know why? Because that person cannot see your feet. The person that's in the passenger seat can't shift your gears because they can't see your feet. They don't know if your foot is on the gas or if your foot is on the brake. Because listen, if your foot is on the gas and you're driving and your passenger takes and shift the gear into park, guess what's going to happen? It's going to blow the engine of your car, or it's going to cause you all to get into an accident. Why? Because as you have your foot on your gas pedal and they take and shift your gear up into park, what happens is then it jerks you because your mindset is that I'm in drive. So my foot is on the gas and I'm going forward. But your passenger is stuck. Listen, you cannot afford to put the blame on your passenger any longer. You have to understand that the shift begins with you. Listen, you have to mature to a place that even though I don't like how this process feels, I don't like that I have to walk this process alone, that it is lonely. Even though I am so used to being surrounded by people, I am so used to people accepting that Shay is the life of the party. You have to get to a place to realize that your shift begins with you. Don't allow your passenger to shift your gears when they can't even see your feet. They can't see if your foot is even easing off of the gas to get ready to prepare for a stop. but yet they put your car in neutral. But you still paying a car payment. What? You think you about to shift my gears, mess my engine up, and I got 2.5 more years left on this car? Or you think you're about to shift my gears and I only got 2 months left to pay my car off, and now you done shifted my gears when I wasn't ready to shift? When I wasn't ready to shift, you shifted my gears. Now you done messed up my car. So the moment I felt like 2 months from now, I'm going to be good. My perspective and my goals is shifting because this bill is up off of me. You done let your passenger shift your gears in your car, and now you need a new car. But guess whose fault it is? You blaming your passenger when it's really your fault, because you were supposed to let the passenger know when you got in my car the expectations of driving or riding in my car. Hello? Oh, well, I just thought you would have known not to touch the gears. No, everybody don't know not to touch the gears. Listen, we're talking about a car, but think about the car as your life. Everybody don't know not to touch your gears, not unless you set the stage to say, this is the expectation. If you're going to be in my life, you're not about to shift the gears in my life. You're not about to tell me when I need to be in park when I know I should be driving. You're not about to tell me I'm supposed to be in neutral when God has told me to stay in park. So you got to get to a place where you identify that your shift the shift begins in you. When that shift begins in you, you have then taken the authority over not only your enemy, but you have also taken the authority over the very ones that said you can't be, you can't do. Who? You? Yes, you. You can't do any of those things. Good morning, Kiana. You have now taken the authority. You have taken the power. Right? And I'm writing a webinar. I'm going to be doing a series on the purpose process. But a lot of that, even in the purpose process, at the beginning of your purpose process is identifying that the shift starts with you. You can't pass the blame off on your passenger. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you did mean to do that because I told you before you got in here, don't touch nothing. You know, we say you in the backseat, you passenger, you're not a backseat driver. I'm driving this. I take the direction in which I want to go. Next time you want to give directions, next time you want to drive, next time you want to say something, you can drive your own car. So my encouragement to you today is drive your own life. Identify that your shift begins with you. Listen, y'all, I am going to come down from here. We are here every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. and every Saturday mornings. I appreciate you all for jumping in on the Wow Inspired movement. I say often Wow Inspired is not my brand, but it is a movement. This is a shared platform. As the same way the gentleman reached out to me and said, I would like for you to talk about this. Please reach out to me. Give me some topics because I want to give you what you need, where you feel like you are in this season of your life. But the one thing I know to be common is that what is happening now is that there is a leader, there is an influencer in each and every one of you. And someone else is dependent on you to influence them so that they can step into their next level of greatness. So don't sit on what God has blessed you with just because of your past. Don't allow your past to don't allow your future to be predicated off your past. Identify that the savage shift you're going to go through, and you're going to encounter people that are going to want to negatively impact your life, negatively pull you down. But there's also another side to the savage. Those people like myself that is going to be forceful to let you know, listen, I'm a savage about it this time, y'all. I'm coming for you. The same way I will call you up and say, honey, listen, there's a party. We're going to the club. Listen, we're going pregame at my house. Bring your bottle. Good morning, sis. Bring your bottle. Bring whatever it is that you need so we can pregame before we go to this party. That's the same way I'm coming for you now. There is an influencer within you, and somebody else is dependent on your message to help them to get over their hump. So I am Shay. I'm just a visionary for the Wow Inspired movement. This thing is, like I said, it's a shared platform. Please, 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 all perspectives are welcome. But understand that when you get in my car, listen, You have to put this in your spirit. When somebody gets in your car, don't allow anybody else to shift your gears, because, again, your shift begins with you. Good morning, Diana. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, you all, I could not do this without each and every one of you. You are inspiring me to come back every week to inspire you. Because, again, our tagline is, I am inspiring the influencer in you. So I love you all to life. I hope you have an amazing Saturday. Feel free to share this out. Why? Because we all have to get to the place to identify that our shift begins with us. And in order to get to that place, and in order to start to step into our purpose power, we have to realize that we are in control of who we are. No, we are in control of the decisions, because guess what? We're not in control of us. Your life is not your own. God is in control of you, but he also gives you free will. So when you take your will and give your will back to God, God could do so much more with it. But again, your shift starts with you. Savage shift. Your shift starts with you. I am Shay, here to inspire the influencer in you. Love you all to life. Again, our clips are on YouTube. If you cannot watch us live on Wednesday nights or Saturday mornings, listen, it is unedited and uncut, posted directly to YouTube. And you can find that YouTube under I Am Shay Speaks, all together, IAMSHAYSPEAKS. Altogether, I Am Shay Speaks. Subscribe. Catch any of the playbacks. Every live that I have done so far is on YouTube. That's right. It's on YouTube. Tell a friend that does not do social media, but that is on YouTube and does not mind accessing YouTube. Jump on there, catch it, because this is some amazing stuff. I am blessed and humbled to be able to encourage you all. You all have a blessed day as well. Thank you all for tuning in. I love you all to life. Have a great one.